The British Army launched an anti-aircraft gun, aiming at the Japanese fighter jet flying in from the sky. They quickly opened fire on the Japanese plane. The fighter immediately dropped its altitude and targeted a British refugee boat. The bomb narrowly missed the refugee vessel. The British soldiers swiftly turned their anti-aircraft gun, trying to protect the elderly and women aboard the ship. But unexpectedly, 3 Japanese planes fired at once. 4 explosions erupted alongside the refugee boat, tearing it apart in an instant. Civilians in the nearby shipyard screamed in terror. The British forces returned fire, taking down one of the Japanese planes and sending its pilots to their end. But 5 enemy jets still remained. One bomb struck the deck, destroying both the anti-aircraft gun and the ship's captain. The refugee boat could no longer hold out against the assault. British soldiers rushed to evacuate civilians onto the deck, launched lifeboats, and ordered everyone to retreat as they stayed behind to cover them. The Japanese pilots, now completely ruthless, ignored the soldiers and strafed the deck, firing directly at women and children. They kept shooting wildly, targeting the areas where the most children were gathered. The screams of British civilians filled the air. The wings of a British fighter were locked in combat above. On the deck below, little girls were killed one after another. Those who survived jumped into the sea in desperation, hoping to escape. They drifted aimlessly in the vast Pacific, some even forced to throw their own children into the water to save them from capture. They knew that if they fell into Japanese hands, death was certain. Around 300 women, children, and elderly civilians leapt into the ocean, struggling to survive among the waves. 3 British women were swept away by the current, swimming through the night until they reached a small island. Exhausted and battered, they had finally escaped, at least for the moment. But then one of the women froze. Behind them, the unmistakable sound of tank tracks echoed. The 3 women stood motionless, horrified to see Japanese soldiers approaching. They were captured once again. Along with the remaining 297 civilians, they were transported to a Japanese concentration camp in Singapore, forced to dig rocks and perform hard labor. Many were beaten brutally. These British women had once been white-collar workers, unaccustomed to such suffering. Soon, 30 of them fell ill with malaria, clinging to life. A Chinese woman, unable to bear watching them die, secretly cut through the camp's barbed wire one night and traded her earrings with local villagers to obtain medicine. But while retrieving the supplies, the villagers accidentally made noise that alerted the guards. The Japanese soldiers realized someone had tried to escape.